Well, you had competition between Russia and the rest of the world, and probably China, although not necessarily as well understood. Basically, Stalin controlled Russian people, and they said, well, we can't provide you better standards of living because we have to invest it into the armaments. First, we have to defend ourselves from the West. And second, we really should take over the West, because until we take over the West, we will never be safe. And so therefore we will not be able to supply you with higher standards of living or education or some other things. So this is propaganda. I think understanding communism, you have to understand it, that the only thing communism brings to the table is propaganda with which they can win elections and or gain power. Either they gain it through elections or they gain it through conquest. But in any case, it's related to propaganda system. And the most precious thing to a communist leader is his propaganda. And you'll always recognize him as such, because the propaganda is the precious jewels of the party. And this is the part that they have to preserve and defend. And when that goes, they have nothing. Communists can't rule, because they don't have a philosophy of how to rule. They don't have any way of determining what needs to be done and how it should be done. But their propaganda is the ultimate of everything. And so, and it's very precious to them. Let me give you an illustration. I was 10 years old and I was in communist prison with my parents. We tried to escape, got caught. Although I didn't know it, but I told my parents they were going to torture me if they didn't cooperate and tell them what they wanted to know. And what they wanted to know is, where's the dollars and where are the diamonds and where's the jewels? And my mother said, we've sent them out of the country. I said, how'd you do this? Well, there was a Polish diplomat, communist, who agreed to take it, and he is now in Karachi, Pakistan. They checked it, sure enough, he was there. So they couldn't get it. So then they wanted to know some other stuff, so they kept doing it, And my mother said, well, when are you going to release my son so he can go to his grandmother and aunts? And then they didn't answer. So my mother met all kinds of communists in prison who were there because they were anti-Tito. Tito was the head communist in Yugoslavia at this time. And they got to know her. And then one of them said, there's a way for you to get your son out of here. And she said, what? How? Just tell them next time they interrogate that in a month's time there's going to be a story in New York and a story in London about your story and about your son. And you'll see what happens. I was at my grandmother's within 3 weeks.
So that's how you went to your grandmother's?
Yes.
And your mother as well got out?
No. Later on she did get out. Eventually she got out. But what they didn't know during all this time that she smuggled $3,000 through all the searches in the prison.
You needn't go into detail about how.
Okay, I'll trust you on that.
And I found it fascinating with her gall and determination to fight them at every corner. So that shows you how precious to them is the propaganda. Preserving the propaganda. This is the asset.
So they would rather get you out, rather let you go than have there be bad name against them.
Well, this would cause them to be, they would lose some asset in propaganda that they were torturing children in jails.
Okay.
They didn't want to go there.
Sure.
So that's how they got. So that's how it just shows you the mentality, how they think. Anyway, that doesn't mean that every communist was a terrible person. My father was imprisoned by them, and he was walking with a guard from cell to the judge's chambers. And an officer stopped him and called him by name and asked him, why is he here? My father did not recognize him, although the guy knew him. And he said, well, they've accused me that I'm enemy of the people. because he was a capitalist. So you have to understand what a capitalist is. And basically it's a person who uses capital to make things happen. Invest into businesses and or factories or railroads or mines or searching for oil or building ships or anything else that capital could be used to make things happen, like building houses. Okay. Anyway, he was an architect and he used to build big complexes. And so the man says, "What, you? Naming you the people?" Said, "I'll take care of it." And my father says, "Excuse me, sir, but who are you? I can't recognize you. You sound familiar, but I can't place you." He said, "I used to be your framing foreman on that project over there." I said, "Yes, I recognize you now." I said, "In this context, I couldn't see you." And so he released him.